are live. Good morning,
Good morning.
TGIM. Joined by the lovely Coach Danielle. Let's go. And very excited to dive into this today. We're going to be talking about protein and fiber hacks for 13-hour shifts because we have our resident coach Rachel Danielle. Thanks. It's Monday. Our resident coach Danielle as a doctor of pharmacy, so she is totally used to the long, long days. So we're going to be diving into all this. But before we do, as usual, I'm going to tag everyone so that more people can see this. And if you guys are here, feel free to like this video so more people can see it. And we will get started. And also, let me actually just drop this now. I'm going to insert the image. Can I do that while we're live?
I don't know.
I don't think I can. I think I have to wait. All right, I'll wait until after. All right, let's dive into this. So I have it pulled up here for everyone. So protein and fiber hacks for the 13-hour shift. Why don't you start by really just telling us like why this is beneficial to you? Like why is this helpful on a 13-hour shift?
Yeah, so as a lot of our clients who do the shift work know, when you're working these long shifts, you're lucky if you get one break.
Yeah.
So it's just like this is the kind of structure that I've made that I make myself stick to on my 13-hour shifts just to ensure that I'm getting enough protein and I'm getting enough fiber, to meet my weekly goals and let my muscles recover the way that they need to recover.
Nice, perfect. All right, so let's dive in. So total
Yeah.
weekly prep time, 1 hour. I find that hard to believe. I'm calling bullshit already.
It's not bullshit. And actually, so the way I do it is I actually do it when I'm cooking dinner. So on
Okay.
one of my off days, I cook dinner before I get the kids from daycare. So I cook it ahead of time, and then we kind of just heat and eat when they're home.
Nice.
Because I have a 1 and 3-year-old, so it's chaos when they're home. So
Nice.
while I'm cooking dinner on one of my off days, I'll make my breakfast sandwiches for the whole week. So as I'm cooking dinner, I'll be making the breakfast sandwiches. I make them like 5 or 6 at a time.
Okay.
And then also while I'm cooking dinner, I'll go ahead and make like I call like lunch A, and that'll be the lunch that I eat like my next 2 to 3 work days.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then what I'll
I like that.
do is like then I usually work 2 to 3 shifts in a row. So say I work Monday, Tuesday, and then again, I'll be off Wednesday, Thursday. So on Thursday, I'll make my lunch B. Again, while I'm cooking dinner for the kids, I'll be making a lunch B, another 2 to 3 meals for my next 2 to 3 long shifts.
Does it take any extra time when you're cooking this other meal, like this dinner, or is it more just like, oh hey, this is cooking, this is frying, like you just get really good at then multitasking and doing this too? So does it take
Yeah,
no extra
it's
time
definitely,
or just very
I wouldn't
little
say
extra time?
no extra time, but I'd say like very little.
Nice.
Because
Because
I
you're
like
killing it.
I'll be cooking everything at the same time. Yeah, so it's like
Nice.
it's time blocking, and I'll block myself that time out twice a week. Again, while I'm cooking dinner, which is something I already have to do.
Yep.
Um, so that little bit of extra time would just be like putting it in its Tupperware containers, that kind of thing. But
Makes sense.
really, like no extra time.
So if there's someone out there right now that is working over 12-hour shifts, let us know in the comments because
Yes.
I want to know if this is striking a chord. So let's get to the real question here. You're making 6 sandwiches every week, right? On one day for the week, you said?
Yeah.
Talk to me about taste. On the sixth day, am I like opening this thing up ready to kill, ready to like, die? Or like talk to me.
Yeah, what I do, so I make them, and then once they're made, I wrap them first in paper towel and then second in aluminum foil. And
Okay.
then I'll put like the first 2 to 3, depending on my shifts, in the fridge, and then the next 2 to 3 in the freezer. And
Okay.
then when I finish the first 2 to 3, then I move the freezer ones into the fridge.
Nice.
But no, they stay good all week.
Okay.
So I just use like those mini bagels is what I'm on now, like
Okay.
the bagel thins. I'll
Yeah,
use
yeah.
those. I'll use like a thin slice of provolone cheese. I'll do egg whites. I'll do turkey, and then I'll also do turkey bacon.
So
And
kind
then
of
maybe just
rotate.
I kind of will switch it up sometimes, but that's like my go-to. All of those on one sandwich. Yeah.
Oh,
And then just
nice. Okay,
yeah, all of
cool.
it on one sandwich. Yeah. And then I'll do like a little like spicy chipotle sauce on top. But yeah, then
Nice.
you just wrap it up in the paper towel, wrap it up in the aluminum foil, and you're good.
That's beautiful. So this is like a hearty
Yeah.
breakfast. Like this isn't something
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, two egg whites and like survive until 2 p.m. Like this is like something that will
No.
tide you over.
Yeah, because I
Nice.
know I eat this, but I eat my first meal on the drive to work. So I'm eating this first meal around 7:40, 7:45 as I'm driving to work. So you can eat it with one hand,
Yeah.
while you're driving. But then yeah, I know I'm not going to get a break until 1:30. So it's got to be hearty enough to last me until 1:30.
Nice. And during that time, what about water consumption? Are you like, what about liquids? Doesn't have to be water. What are you drinking from breakfast to lunch?
I'm really good at my water. I love water, so it's easy for me, but I just keep like my giant water bottle next to my workstation at all times. And I always like little hack, like the cups with the straw built in, so you don't have to like do a full drink. You literally can just like slide it over. You're like still like typing, like you don't have to stop your work because there's no time to stop some days. That's how I get it in. Yeah,
You know, it's so funny. We talk about pain and pleasure a lot, right? I mean, everything we have to do to make sure something is sustainable has to be low pain, high pleasure, so there's no need for willpower. As corny as it sounds or as funny as it sounds, those little pieces, those little micro resistances, eliminating them does help. Like as
it
funny as
does.
it is, like the difference between doing this, which is grab it one step, two step, versus one step, the more steps you can eliminate to make actions that are good for you as simple as possible, they stack. I'm telling you, if you take
Yeah,
out like 10 micro steps through your day, it's less resistance. This is the same type of idea with like, you want to be able to set your gym clothes out the night before. Like, as silly as it sounds, I've been doing this for 10 years with my water and my pre-workout. I have my pre-workout if I'm working out, the powder already inside, and it's just sitting
yep,
there. Now, again, it's not that much work to just go get the pre-workout, which is in the cupboard, bring it out, unscrew. But like those steps add up, and I'm trying to create as
yeah,
little resistance and friction as possible to doing actions that are good for me. So I love that.
yeah.
I love
On
that.
that same line, you guys will laugh at this. So another like micro hack. So it's very hard to leave the pharmacy, very, very hard. So instead of like filling up my water bottle at the water fountain, which is outside of the pharmacy, I actually fill it at the eye wash station that's in the pharmacy because that's like
Nice.
filtered water. So I actually use that, and all my techs think it's like absolutely hilarious. But that's my way to just be able to refill it without having to actually leave the pharmacy.
Smart. Yeah,
Yeah.
the easier we can make it, the better. I love this.
Yeah.
That's a great little hack. Um, all right, let's talk about lunch. So I know you said this was your sit down meal. Of course, are you always having the red meat as steak? Are you switching it up?
I switch this up. I do try to do like a red meat for lunch.
Yep.
Just usually it's like higher fat. It's going to give you a little bit more satiety. But yeah, this is around 1:30. I get a lunch break. So this is my one access to the microwave. So that's why I really make sure that this meal counts.
Nice.
Even if I can't sit down and eat it, I know I'll have the chance to run to the microwave in the break room and at least heat it up, and then I can eat it standing if I need to work through lunch.
Yep.
But yeah, I make this one count because this is the one that I know I'll get to the microwave. So this is like my big meal. I try to make it very hearty. And then I always do like one of the Chobani Flips yogurts as my like
Yeah.
dessert after the meal, just to kind of cleanse the palate.
Get some sugar in there. Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
get that sweet tooth.
Yeah.
I like it. That's good. What
Yeah.
if you I don't know too much about the day in the life of a pharmacist. What is the chance that you're not able to sit down for this meal? Or is it like, no, this is like mandated? Well, I mean, I guess it's always mandated, but like it's gonna happen. Like what is the percentage on that?
I would say like 50-50 that you actually get to sit and eat it,
Okay.
but it's I always 100% of the time make it a priority to go heat it up in the microwave and actually eat it. When I started as a pharmacist, I did not make it a priority. Back then, it actually wasn't mandated
Oh,
because we're like salary exempt. So we actually didn't get lunch breaks back in the day. It was like up to us to try to figure
no
out a
way.
time to run out. Yeah. So
Huh.
during that time, I never ate. I would literally eat on my way to work and my drive home from work.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I definitely, it definitely was not good for like my cortisol levels.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't until I started like actually making myself eat lunch that I actually was able to get pregnant with my first kid. We hadn't
Wow.
been able to get pregnant for over a year, and I really think it was just that my cortisol was so high that like my body just wasn't even letting me ovulate when I was supposed to ovulate. So that was like
Wow.
a really weird thing. Like as soon as I started sitting down and eating my lunch every day, that's when like my body was like, okay, you can like handle growing a baby now. So
That's
now it's a non-negotiable for me.
wow. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. The reason this is so interesting to me specifically is because my wife and I are in the process of wanting to have another kid, but she does intermittent fasting.
Mm,
And that's a really interesting thing. Like, but it makes total sense uh, by 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 uh, biology
biologically.
biologically. Oh my gosh, Monday morning.
Yeah.
Biologically, right? It's like if your body doesn't believe you have enough energy to survive, why is it going to get you pregnant, right? Wow, that's
Right.
really interesting. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's something to think about. I mean, women in
Yeah.
general, we have to eat differently than men just because our hormones do fluctuate different than y'all. So
Yeah.
we
Then
have
y'all.
to, we have to be a little bit more attuned with our hormones as far as eating for sure.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's my takeaway from this. We're gonna make sure that my wife's eating every 90 minutes. Or we force feed her food every 90 minutes so that get pregnant. That's funny.
Oh
Okay,
man.
cool. So it always so pretty much you're saying like, look, even if I can't sit down, even if I'm eating this on the go, like while you're still typing in scripts or whatever you need to do, it's like you're taking the how long does it take to warm up? Like 90 seconds,
Right. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. So
Yeah.
it's like that's a bathroom. It's less time than a bathroom break. So it's
Yeah.
like if you're allowed to take bathroom breaks during your shift, which of course
Right.
everyone is,
Yeah.
you can heat this up. If anything, you can go throw it in the microwave, then go to the bathroom, then grab it out of the microwave. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like it. And I noticed you said too, like in the beginning, I didn't make it a priority. What shifted for you?
Exactly.
What made you say like, all right, this is now a priority for me?
Yeah, it really was like the infertility.
Mm,
And I make all my technicians take a lunch every single day. So then it was kind of like I started telling them like, hey, I want y'all to hold me accountable and
mm,
make me take my lunch every day because I really believe like something's wrong with my body not eating for 13 hours.
yes.
So that was kind of the shift for me. And once I saw that it actually worked, we got pregnant, then I was like, okay, like
Sold.
that made such a big difference that from now on, like it's a non-negotiable. I have to go heat up my lunch and I have to eat my lunch.
Yes, I love that. Brenda says in the comments, "Hey guys," and then says, "Nurses have to prioritize ourselves." Definitely do. Yeah, I mean, look,
Yes.
you can only take care of others if you take care of yourself, or you can only take care of others optimally, adequately, if you take care of yourself. Right? It's kind of
Yeah.
like that old thing. You guys probably remember the study that happened a few years back. I might have even talked about it on a couple of these podcasts. I won't digress too far, but a lot of the time when we're impaired, we don't even know we're impaired. And
Hmm.
one of the easiest impairments is just being dehydrated. They did a
Yep.
study, I believe it was with 20 or 30 people, and they did a driving simulation, and they saw, okay, how many mistakes did you make during this like 30-minute driving simulation? And then ultimately hydrated, and then they dehydrated the people. And dehydrated just means like a I believe it's 0.5 to 1% decrease in total body weight
Okay.
from what would be standard, and they made double the mistakes.
Wow.
But none of them said prior that they felt impaired.
Right.
That's It's kind of like
Yeah.
alcohol in a sense. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm good to drive. What do you mean? And like they're sloshed. But like
Yeah.
our ability to know if we're impaired is hard to actually quantify, right? It's like usually just it comes out in the actions you're doing. And we probably know it to some degree when things just flow and we feel more like ourselves, and when things are kind of harder not clicking, that can be a indicator of if you're impaired or not. And impairment can
Yeah.
literally just mean dehydrated. Like it's so interesting
Yeah.
to think about.
Yeah. And I mean, in healthcare, I mean, having patience is a huge thing. We're dealing with people that are sick and, maybe they're not bringing their best selves. So it's very important. If you're hangry and like your patience is thin, like that's not a good recipe, for patients who are also sick and their patience is thin. So like
Yeah,
making that
it's
time to
true.
restore yourself halfway through the day is super important.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is have someone ask for a ginger ale and then you throw it at their head.
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok about that happening once. That's crazy. I think they lost their job, but I don't know. Brenda says that's such a good point. Yeah. So let's keep this going. So we're past breakfast, past lunch. You're hitting the snack, um, protein shake, beef stick, 100-calorie almond pack.
Yeah.
What is the protein bar? Because I actually protein. Are you having
Shake.
protein? Was there a bar
Protein
we were talking
shake.
about before? Oh, that's dessert. That's dessert.
Bars for
Okay.
dessert. Yeah.
Yeah,
My
we'll save
protein
that for
shake.
later.
Yeah.
There it is. I
And my
like it.
core power. I love these. I love these guys. But yeah, when I go and run to the break room to heat up my lunch, there's a fridge in there too. So I'll have my lunchbox in there. When
Nice.
I am running back from lunch, I'll grab my shake, my beef stick, my almonds. I'll run
Nice.
them back to the pharmacy with me and just keep them by my station.
Nice.
And then I kind of set a goal in my mind that I don't want to go longer than 5 hours without at least starting those.
Yes.
So I get back from lunch it too. If I notice it's like 6:30 or so and I haven't even started it yet, even if we're slammed, I'll at least open my protein shake and start drinking that, even if I
Yes.
don't have time to physically start eating yet.
Beautiful. That's great.
Yeah.
And just so everyone knows too, like all the brands that we're going to show today, we are not sponsored by. These are all just things that we personally use. So you can get them from Amazon.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a link. Just like go search it on Amazon. Not gonna, not don't need a commission from it. So yeah, that's the protein that you're using. I like that one too. How do you feel that is digestion wise? You feel pretty good with that?
Really good. Yeah, I'm a big Fairlife fan. As y'all can
Okay.
tell, it'll be in my dessert too. The Fairlife is like the lactose free. It's
Yep.
really is easily digestible. And then the good thing about these core power shakes is that they can be kept at room temperature too.
Nice.
So they don't have to be kept refrigerated. So that's
Right.
convenient as well. I literally buy them in bulk on Amazon and just keep them in the pantry until we're ready to use them and then move to the fridge.
Nice. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've used Core Power a few times. I've used the Core Power Elite too. That's like
Hmm.
42 grams of protein, so like one and a half times the protein, and those usually do pretty well in my stomach too. Very
Yeah.
nice. And then we have the beef stick. Beef stick is I think you said you went with Apex.
Apex is what I'm on now. Yeah.
Cool. But there probably isn't some magic one, right? Just like the protein,
No.
just like the beef stick. It's like these are just things you're
Right. It's
eating.
what you like.
Yeah,
It's
it's
what you
final
like.
reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
And then almond packs, just an almond pack. That makes sense. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of micros in here too. I mean, like the amount of, if we were to break down the amount of micronutrients you're getting from these meals, I mean, this is like super spot on, like top level nutrition. Because a lot of times, especially when we're starting, a lot of us are focused on just like, all right, calories and macros, like, let me lose weight. But the fact of the matter is, if we're playing this game for the long term, in the
Hmm.
pyramid of priority, maybe I have that. Actually, do I have that somewhere? Pyramid of. Now I'm gonna. Oh, pyramid of pain. Nope, that's not it. Okay, so pyramid of priority. It's like we focus on caloric to lose weight, overall health and weight loss, caloric deficit, macros, and then micros. Micros are all the nutrients, all the micronutrients that are going to allow you to live optimally, right? That are going
Yeah.
to allow your cells to totally replenish and make you feel good in the long term. So This is like super good stuff. I love it. Anyway, shout out. Woo. Now I know here you have an optional light dinner. Now,
Yeah.
what's determining if you're having this dinner, and also you're getting to work. What's your shift look like? You're getting to work at 8, you said?
Yeah. So the shift is 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I'm usually not getting home until about 9:30 at night.
Okay.
And honestly, I usually don't feel like eating when I get home.
Okay.
Um, it's just like I think it's just a stress thing. You know, my body hasn't like come down to rest and digest yet. Um, that's a hard process that I know a lot of our clients understand as well, is like coming down off of those 13-hour shifts when it's just like go, 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 go.
Yep.
It is hard on your body to come back to a state where you actually want to eat.
Yep.
Um,
I get
but
that.
I'm not trying to lose weight or anything. I'm trying to maintain, build muscle. So I usually do make myself eat here and I'll just do something really light. So definitely don't suggest like a giant dinner an hour before you go to bed. That's, going to be hard for your body to digest, but I do make it a priority to get in some protein, usually just like half a serving, and then some veggies. Just so, I'm giving my body what it needs. I'm not overdoing it. It's not like a full dinner like I'd eat on a normal night that I'm not working.
Nice.
But I'm at least giving my body food, letting it know, like, hey, you're okay. It's good. You can relax now, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Great point.
Yeah.
Rudy says, what about working night shift, keeping nutrient dense foods to help you get through the night? I mean, the initial thought here is, I mean, whether it's nighttime or daytime, these foods are these
Same
foods.
thing.
You can
Yeah,
just eat the same things. What's your thought on that,
absolutely.
Danielle?
I think the same exact thing. Yeah, if anything, maybe like your optional light dinner, which then would actually be in the morning before you take your hopefully sleep for the day. Maybe that would be a little bit bigger. It just kind of depends on your appetite in the morning. But I do think it's important, once you're home from work and you're going to take your sleep, to at least give your body something, some good calories, some protein, some fiber, just to kind of let your body know it's okay to relax, it's okay to rest.
Nice. Yeah. Kylie says hello, and then says, "What about turkey
Okay.
sticks?
Oh yeah,
Do you
turkey
like turkey
sticks.
sticks?
Yes, for sure, for sure. Turkey sticks are great.
Do you have a brand you like?
I mean the Apex, they make a bunch of different, not
Do
just
they?
beef sticks. I think they make a whole bunch of different ones.
Nice.
Yeah, but honestly, any brand, I've tried pretty much all of them. First Form makes good ones too.
Okay.
Again, not sponsored at all, but
Yeah. Yeah. We're not
yeah, I just look for more like clean. Like you don't want to do like
low
a Slim Jim.
ingredients.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're looking for a little cleaner than that.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
by
like most
clean, you mean less
low
ingredients,
ingredients.
like,
Yes,
okay, yeah, more things you can pronounce in the ingredients.
exactly. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
And higher protein usually comes right along with that.
Yep, totally. Holly says hello. Hey, Holly, what's up? Kathleen says hi. What's up, Kathleen? Rudy says Kirkland brand. I have you had Kirkland brand?
Oh,
I haven't.
I haven't, but I think that's a great idea because they're
Yeah.
probably slightly more affordable.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Love
Great.
Kirkland. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Grace says, hey, what's up, Grace? Good to see you. Holly says chomps are good. Have you had chomps?
Chomps are very good. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. All right, back to this for a second. So we're almost through here. So what's determining if you eat it or not? So like right now, I know you said you're not in a fat loss phase. You're really just trying to
Right.
build muscle. You're kind of on, we'll say, the tail end of your fitness journey. Maybe not in total time, but in like progress to your final state. Meaning like
Right.
even though you're going to keep this up for the next 40 years,
Mm.
being real, your body's not going to change in the next 40 years that much. It's
Yeah.
really like you're kind of just, you might add
Maintain.
4 pounds of muscle in
Right.
the next
Yes.
year, maybe,
Exactly.
maybe the next 4 pounds, next 2 years of muscle. It takes a long time when we're not drugged up,
Yeah.
on the special sauce, which everyone seems to
Yeah.
be on the internet, right? Instagram. Hey, I lost, or I gained, 20 pounds of muscle in 3 months. Use my workout. And it's like, it wasn't the workout.
Yeah.
But okay. So what if you were in a fat loss phase, would you be more cognizant of your hunger and say like, look, I'm not that hungry right now, so I'm not going to force myself to eat and I'll just fill in the calories tomorrow?
Yeah, like I put on the document, like what I would do is is one or the other. Instead of
Okay.
doing the light dinner and the dessert, I would just do the dessert or I would just do the light dinner,
Okay.
um, instead of both of them. If I was trying to, lose a couple pounds.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Easy peasy. And I know we'll wrap this together in a second. Don't let me forget. But we said like protein and fiber hacks. Obviously, we all know why protein's super important. Building blocks of muscle, keep you satiated longer. But I want us to talk a little bit about fiber too. Like why even include
Yeah.
fiber in the title, which we'll do in a second.
Yeah.
But before we do, let's get through that last piece. A dessert here. Hold on a second. We're not supposed to be eating dessert. Of course, it's totally fine to eat
Nice.
dessert, right? So,
Yes.
you have a protein bar, which usually when you hear protein bar, it's like that's not a fucking dessert. It's like don't you dare call that a dessert. It's like ugh, it's like birthday cake Quest bars, gross. I mean, don't get me wrong, like they actually do
Yeah.
taste pretty good, but it's like the artificial type of taste. But you have one that you say you like quite a bit,
Yeah.
built puff bars.
Built bars. Yeah.
Okay,
So
but puff
the, the
specifically, right?
the built puff specifically. So it's still in the shape of a bar, even though it's called a puff. But they also have bars that are just called bars, and those ones tend to get stuck in your teeth, which I hate. So the built puff bars, they're still in the shape of the bars, but the inside is like more of like a marshmallowy texture,
Okay,
and they are so good. Like they taste just like dessert. I do usually do the chocolate peanut butter. Tastes kind of like a Reese's Puff.
nice.
So good. So yeah, that's my go-to dessert, and I'll do that with like a full glass of the Fairlife skim milk,
Nice.
because Fairlife milk is the best and it has the best macros. So that's what I'll do, and that'll give me like another high protein meal before I go to bed.
Nice. And taste, like, being totally real, taste 1 to 10. 10 being
10,
like,
10 out of 10.
stop, it's a protein
No,
bar.
I'm dead
There's no
serious.
way
No,
taste is a 10.
I promise you, like even my nanny, she's like not a protein person. Like she loves them too. So
That's
like
funny.
they are so good. Yeah, they taste like a candy bar almost.
All right,
But the macros are great.
I will say one more time because this sounds sponsored. These are not sponsored. You can get them on Amazon. We are not trying to sell you anything, I promise. Um, Brenda, we have some interesting questions here. Brenda
Yeah.
says, actually, I'll hit the comments first. So Kathleen says, can we get a recording of this to rewatch? Yep, all of the lives are like right in the group. They'll also be on Spotify and YouTube. So you just go back and you can watch this after it's done, and you'll be able to access the whole thing. Rudy says sweet potato brownies. Never had those, but that sounds pretty good.
So
Um,
good.
Brenda has or a question here. She says, "Do you cleanse or deworm yourself before you diet?" And then she says, "Cleansing to increase micronutrient absorption."
Okay. I personally do not, but I mean I've been eating very similarly for a very long time. So I wouldn't really have anything like to cleanse. Like I'd say I've been eating the same way for 10 to 15 years at this point. It's just like tiny tweaks. Like if I find something I like, I'll switch it up. But I pretty much have been eating the same for a long time. So I wouldn't need to like cleanse or anything. If you're drinking your water and you're healthy, your liver and your kidney do a pretty good job of detoxing your body normally. So I'm a big water drinker, so I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it depends on what we're trying to accomplish, right? So,
Yeah.
like, deworm is almost speaking to like parasitic. Like, do you have a parasite? Which the answer is generally no. So, usually when people say cleanse, they're saying like to wipe out their microbiome. And we never want to wipe out your microbiome, but there is some truth to the idea that 90% of the bacteria in your body isn't yours or its cells. It's like living in your gut, which is crazy to think about. And
Yeah.
a lot of the cravings that we have can be determined by the gut flora, right? The bacteria that's sitting there. So much so, our vagus nerve, right, connects from our brain to our gut, to our stomach. And a lot of the serotonin that actually we get in our brain comes from our gut. Weird,
Yeah.
right? It's all connected. So there's some evidence that supports that if you eat, let's say, we'll just call it sugary processed foods for now, there's a certain type of enzyme or bacteria that breaks that down. So what
Right.
happens is your gut doesn't create it, but more of that bacteria come in your gut,
Yep.
therefore creating a vicious cycle. Now you crave it more and you eat more and it produces more, and so on and so forth. So there is some truth to say, do I want to cleanse, and do I want to like take out sugar for 2 weeks and then your sugar cravings go down dramatically? There is some truth there. However,
Hmm.
the thing I always go with is whatever you're doing now, let's focus on doing that forever. So if you do not want to cut sugar out for the rest of your life, I don't recommend doing it for 2 weeks for a kickstart, right? Because then we start playing with too many variables, with pain being too high, pleasure being low, and then you stop, right? If you have one stressful day. So I don't necessarily
Yeah.
recommend that personally, but that really comes down to to your preference. But hopefully that gives maybe just a little bit of insight to to the whole cleanse
Yeah.
debacle.
And eating the fiber will help with that too. Fiber really helps feed your gut microbiome. So, we were going to talk about fiber, but that helps as well.
Um, yeah, awesome. Sorry, I got distracted with a comment. Holly says, "Is there a protein whey?" I'm curious, Holly. Why do you prefer whey? I'm assuming because it's like one of the most complete proteins. But yeah, is there a whey protein to supplement with that's healthy without a lot of junk in it that you could recommend? Um, uh, you use the Fairlife as your whey, or
Yeah,
there's
it
no
is
you have the
whey.
lac?
It
Is it
is
whey?
it is. It's just
Okay,
ready to drink.
okay.
So the whey proteins, I think it's great. Just like for the busy days, I know myself, and I'm not going to really take the time in the morning when I'm trying to get myself ready, get the kids ready to make a protein shake. And then even worse, the end of the night, when I get home at 9:30, I'm not going to want to be cleaning like a nasty protein shaker that's been sitting out all
All
day. So
day.
honestly, just for me, it's pure convenience.
Yeah.
Like I just know like 100% I will have my protein drink if it's ready to drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a lot of great companies that make like good clean ways. If that's the route you want to go. And sometimes I will do that on an off day just because it's a little more affordable. But yeah.
I'm trying to think what would be one that you recommend for one that's more affordable, that's like a powder. I'm trying to think,
Yeah.
like the last one I used was like I think like Gold Standard Optimum Nutrition way back, because I don't really supplement with protein anymore. I get it all
Yeah.
from whole sources. That's not a
I
problem for me because I work from home. Um,
right. I like Bowmar Nutrition.
Belmar.
Bowmar, Bowmar. They have a lot of good supplements. So that's what I'll do. Like I'll buy it in bulk. I'm a chocolate protein, so like pretty simple. So they have like a protein hot chocolate mix they call, and I'll just buy like a huge thing of that and it'll last me forever.
Nice.
Um, yeah.
Perfect. And again, we are not sponsored by these products. These are just things that we use. I have people that message me and they're like, "You're just trying to peddle your protein." I don't have protein.
Yeah.
Funny. Okay. Any more questions here? Kylie says, "Coach Sharon has great products." Yep. If you're
Yes.
not familiar, too, Catalyst for fitness, protein. Uh, Shout out to Coach
Yeah, I
Sharon.
haven't gotten to try any yet, but as soon as I'm done, like my current protein stash, I plan to try Coach Sharon's.
Yeah, yeah, you can check them out. I don't know which one's which. There's a lot of products here. A lot of products here. But yeah, you can check these out too. Where is it? I don't know. You'll find it. Oh wait, there it is. So yeah, you can check that out and see if it works for you. But Coach Sharon is a really great coach, and oh man, I love that it comes in that big of a tub. Let's go. She really understands the mechanics behind a good protein. We actually have a couple podcasts on that as well if you want to check that out. So again, I'm not peddling this. Coach Sharon might be, but I'm not. No, but she only talks about things she believes in. She's a really ethical coach, and if you've had the opportunity to talk with her, you'll know that. Perfect. Okay, so we've gotten through everything here. Love it. Anything before I answer or ask a couple questions for you too, specifically about this? Anything you would add?
No, I mean, I know we said we wanted to talk about fiber a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So
the
why fiber?
reason why fiber. So, for me, like the hierarchy of nutrition, I'm always thinking about water, protein, and fiber. For fiber, it's so good for your health. So I'm big in like the whole like cardiometabolic space.
Okay.
Most of my patients have cardiometabolic disease. So I'm very into that. I've done tons of courses with like preventative and integrative nutrition. And fiber honestly acts like a sponge in your
Mm,
blood vessels. So, your plaque builds up, your bad cholesterol that builds up the plaque. That's what narrows your blood vessels. That's why people have heart attacks and strokes. Fiber acts like a sponge and it kind of cleans that out. So
mm.
for your heart health, for your overall health, fiber is just super, super important. So that's one of the reasons I always include fiber. We talked about it with your gut health. So like Ryan was saying, like that gut brain axis is huge. Tons of research coming out about that now. And fiber is super good for your gut microbiome. Keeps you full, keeps you satiated. So yeah, fiber is just all around really, really, really good for your heart health, which I'm really passionate about.
I'm curious, would you guys that are listening now be interested in maybe a podcast with Coach Danielle where we talk more about cardiometabolic health? If yours could be damaged, how to fix it, what to look out for. Would you guys be interested in something like that? Let me know in the comments. Um, we also had a comment come through. Kylie says cinnamon roll is amazing. Heck yeah. Rudy says, will you be talking about mindset for those that struggle with motivation or maintaining it in future videos? Great question. So we have that's probably the thing I talk about the most personally. I'm like a broken record with that stuff. um, so if you just go and scroll down, you can also use there's a search function. Just type in like motivation, and you will see a bunch of things. Like this is one I just recorded 5 days ago. The secret to get unlimited motivation. Like, boom, that's for you. you know, right there. And then if we scroll down more, how to unlock motivation and happiness, awaken motivation with non-scale victories, big muscles. Do this to gain instant motivation and energy. So they're there when you're losing motivation. What do you do? Like they're there. I can definitely make more.
Yeah, and
But
they're on Spotify too. So that's what I tell my clients. I know like going through Facebook and like searching for stuff can be difficult. If you guys just download Spotify, which is completely free, Ryan has his whole channel on there. So you just subscribe to his channel. And then when you're driving to work or getting ready in the morning, driving home from work, doing your walks, you just play them. And he probably has like over 50 podcasts on like mindset and motivation. So I don't know. I just personally like love to listen to podcasts when I'm multitasking. It's just easy on Spotify. I could be doing other things and just having that playing in my head, and that's been really beneficial for me.
yeah, that's a great point. I mean, this kind of goes more into higher, overarching ways to stay consistent. If we really want to change our results, and we have to work and go to the core, the source, right? It's like if you want apples to fall from a tree, what do you do? It's like it's not about a tree, it's about a seed, right? So you have to go to the seed. You have to go to and then before the seed, soil. You need to make sure you have the right soil, right environment. So if you want a result, you have to change your actions. If you want to change your actions, you have to change your thinking. If you want to change your thinking, you have to change your input. So thinking can also be like your beliefs, right? Whether you can or can't do something, right? If you believe you can, you'll probably take a lot of action. If you believe you can't, because my body's different or hormones make it so I can't do it, why can't I lose weight? Your brain has to come up with an answer. But if you really want to change your results, to change your actions, change your thinking, you have to change your input. And talk about podcasts,
Mhm.
it's net time, no extra time. Showering,
Exactly.
driving, cleaning,
Doing your makeup in the morning?
like I will say every moment I had from 15 to 22, which was probably too much, of no extra, like I'll say driving, riding in the school bus, even back when I was in high school. This is taking me back. I had a Walkman when I was doing it at 15. That was funny times. Um, Eating lunch, like I flooded my brain with good things. I think it's Tony
Hmm.
Robbins and Jim Rohn that says every day stand guard at the door of your mind and feed it something good. You can have your worst enemy put some sugar in your coffee, and what are you left with? slightly sweet coffee. But you can have your best friend, someone well-meaning, that accidentally puts rat poison in your coffee, and what do you got? You get a one-way trip to heaven, right? So it's like you can have someone that's well-meaning in your life that you love and that loves you, that is unknowingly pouring negative poison into your brain. And an example of that is like one of our biggest case studies, Carla, who lost 130 pounds with us. She sustained it for over 8 years, coming up on 9 years now. But one of the reasons she struggled for so long was because she was 16, over 80 pounds overweight, even at that time, because of, slightly genetics, slightly environment, or very much environmental. And every time she tried to lose weight up until she was 27 or 27, yeah, about 27, everyone around her would just tell her the same stuff. Well, Carla, just like, I want to let you know that, like, look around. Everyone's big boned. Like, if you try and you fail, it's not your fault. It's because that's just the way we're meant to be. She'd be like, oh, yeah, whatever. But the first sign of weakness, the first time as she would be taking actions and they're not working, that thought would get in her head and she would stop. They love her. Are they bad people? No. But they're putting poison into her head, making her believe that she's not in control. Once that started to change, and I don't think it started with me, but it ended with me, right? She's been able to sustain this now for, over 8 years. So it's good stuff. So like you guys can do it too, for sure. Kathleen says, yes, great topic. Kylie says, yes, that'd be a great topic. Rudy says, yes. Brenda says, great to know. Love it. Good stuff. Let's see, what else do we got here? I think there were some questions I was going to ask you too. All right, so just like quick, simple fads or quick, simple myths. There's that belief that, I can't eat carbs, I can't eat food after 6 p.m. because if I eat and then I go to bed, it turns to fat. If I get home at 9:30 and eat at 10, won't everything I eat turn to fat? What's your thought on that?
No, absolutely not. No, there's no evidence for that at all. Doesn't have any science backing behind it whatsoever. The only thing I think is like digestion wise, everyone has different digestion. So that's why for me personally, I don't want to eat a huge meal like an hour before bed, but just like a small meal is totally fine. But yeah, it's not going to turn to fat overnight. That's definitely a myth.
Right. Yeah, it's like if we zoom out, sometimes if we're too zoomed in on the day, that's where that feeling or that fear comes in. Zoom out and look at your entire week. Like in theory, if we were to eat, let's say, your week's worth of calories, but you have, let's say, a 3,500 calorie deficit, a week's worth of calories on Monday or on Sunday, and you didn't eat anything for the rest of the week, you'd still lose a pound of fat that week. That's how, have you guys ever seen like competitive eaters or like Beard Meats Food on YouTube? And you look at him and you're like, how can he eat all that and look that lean? It's because that's not how he's eating every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not his metabolism, right? It's the fact that he eats that and then goes on a water and tea fast for the next 5 days. Like, it's all about it equaling out. So keep that in mind, right? A lot of the beliefs we have around weight loss, how it's supposed to be perfect and super dialed all the time, it's not necessarily true. If we zoom out and focus on the big picture, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Cool. All these other questions I had as far as like, what's your top tip for staying on the wagon during 13-hour shifts? I mean, the thing that comes to mind is you have a plan, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Just a tiny bit of preparation goes so far.
Yeah.
It really does when you're working long shifts and when you're, you have a family, you're a busy person, like just a tiny bit of preparation goes so far. And once you realize that and you've done it for a little bit, then it becomes easy because you realize like the return on investment is so much higher than the effort that you're putting in.
Yeah, I mean 1 hour of weekly prep time.
Right.
And
while you're already cooking dinner.
Right, and so it's really not an hour.
Right, exactly.
It's really less. Extra time you're probably looking at, like you said, just the time it takes you to take it out of the pans and whatever and put them in the Tupperware. So like maybe 15 minutes. We should might maybe change that. I don't know. but yeah, I think that's wonderful. Having a plan. I think it's Zig Ziglar. I'm just coming at you guys with a bunch of motivational quotes today. Call me the. This is all about quotivation today. I think it's Zig Ziglar that says, if you want to win, you have to. What is it? You have to expect to win. You have to prepare to win, and you have to blank to win. Hold on. Let's look. You have to expect to win, Zig Ziglar. Let's see. You were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, you must prepare to win, and you must expect to win. He's got a nice southern accent that I love. But yeah, I mean, this is planning to win. This goes back to even as we're talking about adding exercise into our daily routines. Back to the study, I think you even cited it before. If we can do one thing that will increase our adherence, right, our sticking to any action we put in place, it is simply planning for it to be done. Mm-hmm. Marking out the time on the calendar. I will exercise Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at this time. The likelihood of follow through is so much higher than even having like the perfect plan but not knowing when it's going to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah. There is some ability to adapt, and that's fine. If your goal is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and it doesn't happen and you have to adapt, that's okay. But it's having the initial plan in place and then learning how to adapt from there.
Yeah.
I like it. Good stuff. Any other questions I have for you? Do you guys have any other questions before we wrap up here too? If you guys didn't hear, Coach Danielle, Doctor of Pharmacy, has maintained her ideal body for over how many years?
15 years.
15 years. Good stuff. Mother of 2. So she is and she's not as young as she looks. She's not 20, right? Do you mind sharing your age?
Yeah, I'm 34.
34, right in similar, on the beginning side, but age range that we're, our majority are in this group. I did have a question for you. Other than, so starting with nutrition, what differs for you on work days versus non-work days?
Yeah. So the big thing, breakfast and lunch are pretty similar. The big thing for me is that dinner is going to be earlier and it's going to be a larger meal. So that's the big difference. So between at work, between my lunch and my dinner when I get home at 9:30 p.m. is I have that snack. I don't need to do that on the days that I'm working from home. I can just do a normal breakfast, lunch, dinner at 5:30 p.m. with the kids. And then I'll still have my dessert of the Built Puff Bar at night. But that's the big difference, is it doesn't have to be as prepared.
So you're telling me you can have that built every day and it doesn't get old?
Every day. I'm obsessed
and
with
you say
these.
it's a 10. How long have you been having it? How many months?
I would say less than a year, maybe 9-ish months.
Still,
I've been having it, and it's still a 10.
Wild.
And yes, and I've tried so many protein bars over my life. So
they might be sprinkling really something on top. I've never heard of a protein that could be enjoyable for that long.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
wild.
Good.
No,
a lot of our clients do the Built Puff bars too.
I have to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a big deal. To be a 10 for 9 months and you eat it every single day.
Every single day, yeah.
Huh. I'm going to try this. I'm going to be like, it sucks.
No, it's so good.
This is terrible. You must be a shareholder. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Some other questions that came in really quick. Rudy says, hospitals need to stop offering staff junk food as a snack and get rid of vending machines. I only take the dark chocolate covered almonds, talk about poison in your coffee. I mean, that's totally true, right? There's something to be said about, which we've talked at length about on other podcasts, setting your environment up for success, right? And my wife and I, we've talked about this at great extent as well. It's we actually just talked about it yesterday, the idea of it, the philosophy behind it. There's really nothing you can't eat if you're trying to lose weight, transform your body, and sustain it forever. Nothing's off limits. We don't want to give the power to the food that we can't have, right? No. everything you can have. However, if I'm trying to be in a caloric deficit, I probably don't want to bring things that are high calorie, not that filling, and that are very easy to eat into my house. Why would I do that? I would not do that. Now, don't get me wrong. Can I go out and eat it? Sure. But what that's doing is it's creating more friction, more pain to have to go do the thing. So the likelihood of it happening goes way down. And I'm just going to have some fruit if it's right in your fridge. Mm-hmm. So that I agree with that. It's like if it's right in front of you, it's tough. When you go into the break room and they're like, "Hey, it's Jean's birthday. We ordered a cake. Everyone have a slice." If you don't have a slice, you're a bad person. And it's like, fuck, And especially if you're craving sugar, right? And maybe it's a tough day. You want something to kind of, bring that emotion down a little bit. It's easy to have. So depending on your unique situation with, we'll say, office or not office, but hospital treats, there are some strategies we can put into place there. I mean, one of those things is like leveraging the RN snack guide that I posted, the Don't Have Time to Stop RN snack guide, that has like pretty good tasting things you can just have if you're running, and you have it in place of it. So it's like, it's not saying I can't have the cake, but it's saying, well, I got to have this first. And then you have the thing, which is usually high protein, easy to have, like a Fairlife protein shake. And then if you still want it afterwards, you have it. But here's what's going to happen. You're probably going to have less of it because of it. Therefore, getting to your goals faster.
Yeah, 100%. I do that with dessert too. Like occasionally I do have, cookies or, something for dessert that's not high protein or healthy. But what I always have my protein first. I always have the Built Puff bar with my Fairlife milk first. And then if I'm still hungry afterwards, then I'll have some cookies. But it's not, one, I'm not hungry enough to have as many as I would before. And two, I'm mitigating that glucose spike that I would have gotten if I would have went straight for the cookies instead of having the protein first. And like I said, I'm doing this for longevity and health span. So that's like my driver.
Yes. That's a great point too. Like we don't dive too much into the mechanics of what's actually happening and a lot of the health associated with these changes, because usually they're not the thing that is the biggest lever that is going to get people results. However, if you guys are interested too, let us know in the comments. Like, would you guys be interested? We already talked about cardiometabolic disease or what is it? That and one other piece that I can't remember right now. But that's so funny. I forgot I had the Mac things on. Did you?
I didn't do it. Maybe somebody did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. But yeah, let us know if you guys would be interested in more like of the mechanics that are happening in your body when you choose like protein and a carb versus just a carb. I know it's a lot of you probably know it, but at the same time, maybe it's been a little bit since you heard it. Kathleen says, Rudy says quickly, what would your advice be for my wife and getting this done with a 2-year-old who always wants her and a newborn? The advice, I think Danielle could answer this the best. She has a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So, what's your quick take on this?
I don't know if he's asking specifically for nutrition or as far as like working out. But yeah, so just a year ago, it was a newborn and a 2-year-old for me. And now they're 1 and 3. But as far as working out, with a newborn, honestly, that's not my number one priority. Your body's already under a lot of stress and you're not getting your sleep. So I still got my movement in when I had a newborn for sure. I would still like lift, not as heavy as I do usually. But I did still lift because that's for my mental health too. But I wasn't waking up early to do it. So that'd be the first thing is honestly, I do not recommend like her waking up early to work out until she's sleeping through the night. So, sometime between like 6 to 9 months postpartum is usually when I recommend to have my clients like actually like wake up early to fit in your workout if that's what you have to do. So for now, honestly, she just needs to make sure that her cortisol is as low as possible. She's taking care of herself. She's maximizing her sleep. Nutrition wise, eating well with a tiny bit of preparation really does not take much more time than not eating well. So it's just like the tiny bits of preparation. And like Ryan said, I tell my clients this all the time. It's like, You go to the grocery store, say once a week, you're there for 45 minutes, make good decisions in that 45 minutes. And then you're not having for the next 7 days, 24 hours of like, oh my gosh, I have all this like snacks and everything in my house that I want to eat and having to make that decision over and over and over again. It just gets exhausting. But if you just can make the good decision in the grocery store, then you don't have to worry the rest of the week. And like he said, if you're craving something so strong that you're willing to leave the house to get it, go ahead. Life is short. We only have one life. Do it. But it's like bringing it into the house, it's torturing yourself. You're having to make the decision day in and day out. She has a newborn and a 2-year-old. She's not getting a lot of sleep. So her willpower is not as strong as it normally is either. So it's like when you're tired, you have higher cravings, you have less willpower. So it's kind of setting her up for failure there. So just bring healthy food into the house. As far as the working out, if she can get in some movement while the kids are napping during the day, that's great. But I would wait until she's sleeping through the night to really start prioritizing like building muscle.
Mm. Yeah, my willpower is always 0. I feel like if it's truly, like, if it doesn't feel good, I don't want to do it. And, like, there is something to say, like, I'm not talking about being a couch potato because, like, working out hurts. It feels good to me. Like,
Yeah.
pushing feels good, right? So it's just like figuring out for everyone, like, what is that low pain, high pleasure action? Because, yeah, we want you to be doing resistance training to build muscle and to increase your metabolic health, but really, like, you don't have to start there if it means that you're going to stop, right? Yeah. Kathleen says, is there any good gluten-free protein bar for dessert? I can't speak to this because
Gluten-free?
I don't like protein bars that much. I don't know
I
about
don't know.
gluten-free. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not a gluten-free person. I'm sure we have someone in the group though that can
yeah.
make recommendations there.
If somebody knows, actually, really quick, somebody's watching this, because a
Yeah.
lot of the coaches come back and watch this content as well. Um, can anyone give a recommendation? Gluten-free protein bar. Coach Sharon's might be
I
gluten-free.
know.
I've never had it. I haven't had it yet, but her stuff is like, to every person that I've heard that has used her stuff says it's fantastic. So
Same.
could be one to try. Rudy says, thank you. First time tuning in. Looking forward for future content. Hey, our pleasure. There's a whole backlog of content here in the group on Spotify, on YouTube. It's hard to miss. We try to make it so that we slap you in the face with, help everywhere you go. In your email, we might even text you once in a while and be like, hey, I created this thing. Do you want it? So we try to, like, we know, like, we're competing against Netflix. It's hard to compete against. You're competing against Facebook. We're competing against all TikTok. So it's like, we know it's possible for everyone to transform their body and sustain it forever. They just need to be able to see the approach and see it can work for them. Whether or not you ever work with us for one-on-one coaching is not our main goal. Our main goal is to help you break through. And we know that only probably like 1% to 2% of all the people we ever come in contact with are going to utilize us for one-on-one coaching. And that's okay, right? Our goal, our immediate mission is to have an impact. The business will take care of itself. So as long as we keep that first and foremost, I think we'll be able to make that impact. Megan Moon says mescla are good. I've never had mescla.
Oh, me neither.
Let me look. Mescla. I'll pull it up. Ooh, mescla. Mescla protein. Is it a Portuguese bar? Mescla bar. Okay, yeah, let's look. Let's dive into the macros for a second. Okay. So yeah, they're like a puffy protein. So yeah, it looks like it'd be better tasting. Those do look pretty yummy tasting. I would argue that's probably not too much of a protein bar per se. I mean, it's kind of like reminiscent of a Kind bar. As you can see, it's got about 10 grams of protein, 170 calories. So it's only got 40 calories from protein, which means that less than 25% of the calories are coming from protein. To me, I don't really call something a protein bar unless at least 50% of the calories are coming from protein. So this is a more filling snack than like a Nutri-Grain bar. So, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a protein bar. It's marketed as a protein bar because they want you to buy it. Um, but ingredients wise, a lot of organic stuff in there. The thing with chocolate too, and this is a whole nother discussion, is like it's really hard to tell. I don't think this has like too much real chocolate in it, organic dark chocolate. I mean, it's the second ingredient. The thing with chocolate is like you don't know where it's sourced from and you don't know how many heavy metals are in it. Now, this is starting to get way off topic and getting into like the very micro as voiding like heavy metals, calcium and what's the other one? Calcium. There's one other, but a lot of chocolate that's on the shelves, especially like Hershey's, even a lot of the health chocolate, dark chocolate, has a lot of these heavy metals in it that we want to avoid, right? Because obviously you do not want heavy metals in your like a tremendous amount of heavy metals in your body, and we're not even talking about like a tremendous amount, but it's an amount that you don't want in your body, because that can lead to complications like anything else that's negative or health adverse. But as far as like the ingredients, I mean, they look pretty good. Any feedback on this one?
I mean, I think I
Gluten free,
kind of
let's
agree with you.
go.
It's not, I wouldn't call it like a protein bar. But I mean, if it's like something that you can eat with something else, that might be good. So like if you have
Good
your
point.
meal and you're still hungry towards the end, I think this would be like a good thing to round it out with.
Nice. I like it. Bethany says, love micro and mechanics info. Let's go. Yeah, we'll keep it
Yay.
going. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we could definitely talk more on that. Let me see if I can find that chart really quick because we had and also would it help? Do you guys want me to put this in the comments below? Do you guys want me to link this to you guys? Would that be helpful? Let me know if you want me to drop this in the chat, and I can. Actually, I'm sure someone will want it, so I'll drop it in the chat. Let me know if you guys want it here. Um, yeah, let's go. All right, cool. So you guys can have that. It won't let me post the image, so I just posted the link instead. And then let me try to find. Have we ever talked about the pyramid of priority together?
I don't know if we have together, but I've watched that podcast and I know the pyramid you're talking about.
Yeah, it might. I'm just trying to think of where I have it. I have it in a couple different places. We'll see if it loads. But yeah, essentially, the idea is we want to focus on a caloric deficit first, and then we want macronutrients, micronutrients, and then we want to start getting into some other things. Let me pull this up. Let me look in here. I'm going to look in my Canva.
Okay.
Let's see. Pyramid of priority. I will say that we generally don't want to start focusing on this until we've gotten our foundations in place. Let's see what we got. This might be like super anticlimactic. All right, here we go. Can you guys see that? Oh, you can't see that. One sec. All right. So this is the pyramid of priority. So a lot of people, and this is just like what I've created, right? This isn't like the thing. It's like just my interpretation of our what's important. So like if you're trying to transform your body and sustain it forever, one of the first questions that I would get in the past is like, what supplement should I take? And it's like, whoa. Hold on.
Oh, well, that's a little tiny. Yeah.
You don't need a supplement right now.
Yeah.
Like if you go to a gym and your personal trainer, the first thing out of their mouth is like, cool, so like here's all the supplements you should take. They're making money. Like they're just trying to make more money off you, I promise. The goal is not to sell you supplements, right? That should never be the priority of a coach. The priority of a coach should be to help you make things sustainable. And one of the ways to make things super sustainable is sleep. So adherence, right? Adherence, sticking to it. So sleep, sustainability, that is number one. And you know what I'm talking about because if you've ever had a good night's sleep, what happens? Everything feels possible. When you get a
Hmm.
bad night's sleep, everything sucks. I'm closing the door, right? Like we don't want to live. Now, once we have those starting pieces, which again sounds crazy, like I can't tell you how many times I've worked with clients in the past, and before we even start focusing on getting in a caloric deficit or anything around nutrition or exercise, it's like, let's just get your sleep under control. And
Yeah.
for maybe 2 weeks, that's what we focus on. But guess what? When you focus on that, it allows the next 50 weeks to actually make progress
Yeah.
versus being like, oh, okay, I had a really good week this week, but now your sleep's not foundationally there, and then you crash and then you go back. Like, let's just build this brick house one brick at a time instead of a house of cards that, yeah, looks great from the surface, you're up so high, and then the first stressor comes and blows it all over, right? But once you have these pieces, it's like, okay, let's get the caloric deficit, right? Obviously, mechanically, we need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. Macronutrient distribution, what macros, fat, protein, carbs, right? Sub macro of a carb, we'll call it fiber, right? Are making up those calories. And then what we were talking about for micronutrients. Okay, so are you getting in all your vitamins? This is where it gets a little complicated because it's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
there's a lot of vitamins out there. And how many?
Yeah.
Oh, I need different amounts of each one. How much of vitamin A do I need? How much of, which, you probably don't need to obsess about that one, but like magnesium. How much
Right.
magnesium do I need? The thing is, if we, yes, we can use supplements, but that's more towards the top. If we focus on just eating more straight from the earth foods, so like talking about steak, peppers, eggs,
Hmm.
blueberries, salmon, green beans, getting a lot of colors, and of
Hmm.
course, don't force yourself to eat things that you don't enjoy because it's not sustainable. But try to make things that are healthy for you taste good. And there's a lot of ways to do
Yeah.
that. I would rather you eat salmon and smother that bitch in butter
Butter. Yeah.
than you just eat like something like I don't know, McDonald's, right? Or something like. Don't worry about making things super perfect.
Yeah.
Just worry about taking things that are healthy and making them yummy enough that you eat them, and then you can cut
Yeah.
back on the butter over time or the salt or whatever, right? Like that's another thing. Make sure you're cooking with salt. You need salt. Your body's gonna crave salt. So if you get rid of it, you're gonna, your brain goes, "What has salt? Potato chips." Ah, it just so happens to have a bunch of other fat and calories too. So keep that in mind. Macronutrients a lot of times on a foundational level take care of themselves, and then depending on, and this is what you can, this is one of the benefits of like having a coach Danielle in your corner, is she can look at what you're generally eating and go, oh hey, you don't like. I'm trying to think of something that doesn't have magnesium. So, like, let's just say, without giving you a perfect example, I'll say, whatever, hey, I noticed that you're not eating enough magnesium from your food, let's supplement. And, like, then you can get that in. Or, like, hey, this other thing might help you. But again, these are,
Yeah.
like, really small things. And let's be real, a lot of the supplementation that you can get that's valuable to you, you can get on Amazon for like
Yeah.
$5 or $10 for an entire thing. You can get like high quality magnesium, which the reason I keep saying magnesium is because that is like one of the core micronutrients that people are usually deficient in. So like
Yeah.
if you want to sleep better, or I mean that's like one of the big benefits. If
Yeah.
things feel off for you, maybe supplement with magnesium. But again, that's an overgeneralization. But you can start working that in. And then we were talking about meal timing as well. Meal timing doesn't necessarily help you lose fat, right? Really, not too much. If you get really into the mechanics, it can slightly. But what it's really going to help you with is how you feel,
Yeah.
right? And if you feel better, guess what? You're going to be more adherent. So we went off topic a little bit here, but we're having fun. Anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole podcast on magnesium, but like you said, that's in the weeds. If the people want it, we'll bring it to you guys. But honestly, one thing that like really attracted me to like RN body transformations is how big picture you are. Because for sustainability, it's really about changing how you identify yourself,
Yep.
and just identifying yourself as a person who takes their health and wellness and makes it a priority. So that's one thing I really loved about this company and why I joined this company is because you really focus on that big picture, like, hey, we're changing your identity. And you really have that's how you lose weight and keep it off forever is changing your identity and realizing I am the type of person who takes my health and wellness seriously and I make it a priority. So that's what I love. I'm a science person, obviously. So like I would love to get into the weeds and talk about insulin and glucose and anything y'all want. I can talk about it. I would love to, but like that's why I love Ryan's company is because it is like big picture. Like what mindset set shifts need to happen to make sure this is a sustainable lifelong change.
And I will just piggyback that by saying that's why you're awesome. Because like what is a company but just a accumulation of people that have the same beliefs. So
Mm-hmm.
like I've been in this space pretty much more than half my life. It's pretty much all I've ever done in one way or another, whether it's gyms, being a personal trainer, whatever. And I've just seen too many people lose weight and gain it back.
Yeah.
My clients included in the early days. And man, that made me feel like garbage.
Yeah.
Spend all this money with me, all this time, all this effort, so excited to just be let down later in life. That sucks. So it's like, for the last maybe 7, 8 years, I've been obsessed with the idea of how do we break through for good. And I mean,
Yeah.
what you just talked about, you hit on the head. It's like identity change. Well, how do you have an identity change? It's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. All you need to do is be able to collect enough evidence
Yeah.
for I am this person. But here's the thing. Here's the catch 22. Over the last 10 years, you probably have a lot of evidence that supports not that. That supports I overeat, I don't take care of myself, I'm not healthy, I put others first. Now, here's the good news. You can change who you are. You can change where you are just by changing what goes into your mind and gathering new evidence. So when you start your journey, yeah, if you have a month under your belt, that's not a ton of evidence that I'm this whole new person and my new identity is solidified. 3 months, better. 12 months, much better.
Mm-hmm.
I can promise you too that you don't need to be perfect. A lot of people believe that you need to be perfect to get a new identity. That is not true. What you need is the majority
Mm-hmm.
of actions. Think of it like an election, right? Do you
Yeah.
need every vote to win? No. You just need the majority. So
Right.
if you're coming out on the other side as someone who is pulled towards eating healthy, towards exercising often, low pain, high pleasure actions, this is who I am. All you need is over 51%
Yeah.
over some length of time. That's what we're trying to do here. That's why we focus. Even if you're trying to lose like 20 pounds and like you do coaching with us, we're focused on 12 months. Why? Can I lose this weight in 20 weeks or 10 weeks? Sure. But the goal is not to lose the weight. The goal is not to get healthy. The goal is to stay healthy,
Yeah.
right? And we do that with 4 steps. So you guys have probably heard this 100,000 times, but you start by creating low pain, high pleasure, results based actions so that you can create a positive feedback loop. You're seeing results happen, and now you're getting pulled towards the actions because you're like, wow, this is so easy, and I'm getting results. Yes, that's what we want. Now you feel pulled, and then you adapt and learn. Hey, this thing didn't work. This thing did work. Sounds crazy, but what you do and how you approach this plan and this transformation will be different 6 months in the future, today, or 6 months in the past, even though you're the same person. Why? Circumstances are different.
Yeah.
Graduation parties, your kids are older, your kids are younger, work stress, things are happening, different season. There's a real thing about doing this there's a real difference between doing this in the summer and the dead of winter. Why? Well, if you live in any type of temperate place that has snow on the ground, probably going to get depressed in the winter, baby. So we need to be able to navigate that. That's a real thing. So
Yeah.
having someone like Coach Danielle that's done this with hundreds and hundreds of people, that's done it with herself and stayed consistent, adapted and learned for herself over the last 15 years, and then being able to have the same change happen in other people as well, is beneficial. That's the benefit of having a coach. You compress decades into days. So instead of having to
Yeah.
like figure all this out on your own, which look, I'm not trying to gatekeep. Every piece of information that I have in this head and on paper, I want to give to you. I don't care if you ever do one-on-one coaching with us or not. That's not the goal. The goal is to have you break through. If you want to get there faster, that's where coaching comes into play because you
Right.
compress a lot of learnings into like, hey, let's fast track you there. It's kind of like going onto a minefield with a blindfold. It's like it would be a lot better if you had somebody that had their eyes looking at the minefield going, step to your right, avoid that one, good. and you hit less of the mines so that you don't have to like start over a bunch.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my rant. That's my pump up. So I guess I'll just finish there. If there is anyone out there who's interested in one-on-one coaching and you want to discover how we get these lasting results, I'll put a link. I'll put a link somewhere. It'll look like this. It'll look like this. Bam! Look at this. Sharing my screen. Bam! Usually it loads, and then I dive into like how we get the results that we do. And then if it makes sense for you, schedule a call with me or a member of my team and we can talk to you about it. And I'll be honest, it's not for everyone. But for some people, for the right people, it's the last thing they ever need. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this be the last thing you ever need, right? And don't take our word for it, right? Take the word for it of a bunch of the other people that have already gone through this, right? You can read the reviews, you can listen to the stories. I'm sure we even have some people here right now that are listening, like Kylie, for example, that are our clients. Actually, she's right here too. That have gone through this and know that this is the last time. They're done. Like, this is it. And
this is who they are now.
Right. They're not at their final goal yet. And that's okay because they know if they just keep doing this, living their life, they'll be there. And I've said it 100,000 times and I'll never stop. A lot of the times, the difference, how I know someone's going to hit their final goal, they hit their final goal and they don't even realize it. Why? Because they're not obsessed about the target anymore. All they're focused on are the results-based actions. If they're obsessed about anything, it's getting the actions done. And then they go to a doctor's appointment where the doctor says, step on the scale. They say, I'm not going to look. They step on the scale. The doctor says, great, 148. And they go, 148? I'm doing that again. They started at 210. They haven't been in their 140 since, high school or, early college. They didn't even realize they did it because they weren't obsessed with it. So they didn't have a negative feedback loop of being obsessed, hopping on the scale. Oh, no, I'm not getting progress and now I suck. And then they stop, right? So focus on the actions. Focus on the controllables. As Coach Danielle would say, control the controllables, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll add one more thing. A weight loss goal, that's for people who want to succeed one time. Having a goal around processes, that's for people who want to succeed every day. So if you set, hey, I want to be less than 150, you only hit that once and then it's done. If your goal is, hey, I want to hit my 100 grams of protein, my 100 ounces of water, my 8 hours of sleep, like that's something you're working towards every single day. You're constantly hitting that goal. And it's that positive affirmation and that positive feedback loop that really gets you to be like, this is just who I am now.
Yes. 1,000%. And I'll finish with this. Kylie says, yes, small changes make a huge change. Kylie says 6 months and 30 pounds down, feels so much better. Kylie has it's definitely not been a perfect journey, just small, easy changes. And that's what it is. It's not perfect. What a coach will do is help you, again, go through the minefield, compress decades into days. Sure. What they will not do is give you the perfect plan that if you just do it, everything is sunshine and rainbows. They will help you navigate the shit of life. They will help you navigate the minefield that is ahead of you when you start this journey. But the good news is it's totally doable to cross and it's not as hard as you think. This idea that it has to be like this huge, like, oh, I'm racing to this top of the mountain and I'm Rocky story. It doesn't have to be that hard. I promise. So if this has been beneficial, like the video, tell Coach Danielle she's amazing. If you guys want to see more podcasts with Coach Danielle, let us know in the comments. Be like, yo, she's the best. I don't know. You get it. I'll see you guys soon. And if you need anything, just let us know. Even if you're watching this on recording, feel free to drop some comments. Any resources that we mentioned, feel free to ask for them. And Coach Danielle and I will be able to get them to you. We love you guys, and we want to see you break through. And if you are interested in working with one of our coaches and want to hear more about the process, click the link above or below, and we'll be able to do that with you. Bye!
Bye!